All right, let's now speak to our reporter Shadrach Committee, who's following up on the developments to do with the nurses' strike. Thank you very much for joining us, Shadrach. So really, what is the government saying about this whole situation in the health sector?
Well, Betty, as it is now, where we are standing, it sounds like a big confusion between the government, the nurses, the county government, and the SRC, and by extension, the National Treasury. Remember, this thing is all about the implementation of the CBA, 2013 CBA, but now there seems to have come up, to have emerged a confusion over how they are going to work on the CBA, with the national government and the county governments claiming that the draft CBA that is in existence as it is now, the draft that seems to be the subject of all this standoff, does not expressly capture what was agreed and discussed upon earlier. And so as we stand now, remember, since yesterday, at least we have received communication from the county government, and later in the evening we received communication from the SRC through a letter written to both the county governments through the Council of Governors and the Nurses Union, where the Salaries and Remuneration Commission sought to pronounce itself on the matter of the CBA that is in contention. And remember, earlier on, when you got the communication from the Council of Governors, the statement by the Council of Governors was that they were waiting for a no objection letter from the Salaries and Remuneration Commission as to how this said CBA is going to be implemented. And later in the evening, well, this SRC did what was expected. Unfortunately, it was a letter that showed that the Commission was not going to issue a no objection letter. And the explanation there too were that the amounts being quoted through the CBA do not really fall anywhere near implementation, because according to the draft CBA, the nurses require about 40.3 billion shillings, way above what was allegedly discussed earlier, which was about 3.4 billion shillings. So as it is, and maybe going back to the story we just talked about in Samburu, we may only have got that as the only story that exists, but we do not know exactly how many other Kenyans are suffering out there. There are others whom we can reach and others we cannot. But as it is, Betty, the situation looks dire and dangerous as it is now. Betty?
All right, Shadrach, just before I let you go, so, I mean, from what you've explained, there seems to be, a back and forth with all these institutions. So who really should blink first, because Kenyans are out there and they are suffering, like the story you've just highlighted. I mean, who are they looking at to set this record straight and move this thing forward?
Well, of course, as it is expected in any given structure of leadership, Kenyans would expect that the government will offer leadership by coming out and truthfully explaining what is the problem. But unfortunately, whereas both two levels of government, that is the national and the county governments, have tried to explain what the confusion is all about, unfortunately, we haven't received any communication so far. Since yesterday, we haven't received any communication from the Nurses Union officials, and we are still waiting today, because what we would want to establish from them, we want to know exactly which is the right amount. Is it 3.4 billion or it is 40.3 billion? Because therein lies the confusion. Whereas on one side, the county governments say the amount is way above what was discussed and anticipated. The national government came in again yesterday through the National Treasurer CS Henry Rotich to add more weight on the same, saying had the nurses stuck on the original plan and the original agreement of 3.4 billion shillings, then the CBA would have been acted upon and implemented and executed fully. But this pull and push and back and forth is being put about allegedly by the changing goalposts by the nurses union. And so from what we see, the government, both the national and the county government, seem to be, and by extension, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, seem to be heaping blame on the nurses. And now, unfortunately, we haven't really established what the nurses have to say about this. We have tried to reach them since morning, but we were waiting to get any communication as to whether they will be indicating to us on how they are going to respond over the same, but they haven't done anything so far. So, as it is, yes, Kenyans would expect the government to act decisively, but now, given that it is an issue that concerns about 3 parties, unless those parties sit down and strike a common ground, then we still don't see any solution to this matter anytime soon. Betty.
All right, thank you very much, Shadrach Newton. It's interesting that you say that the nurses union also have to sort of like announce themselves. They will be issuing a statement in the next hour. That is the chair of the nurses union will be issuing this statement in the next 1 hour. We understand and we'll be covering that for you just to listen to what exactly that amount is. Thank you very much, Shadrach.